those of you, welcome to ExecutionZ2 versus Razer Blade International on Game 2 of the AD2L Amateur League Season 2. My name is Toffees, and I'm your caster here today, along with my co-caster and resident expert, Pancake Dragon.
Hey guys.
Say hi. There you go. Nice job, Pancake. Alright, so we're getting into the draft right now. Hopefully everybody can hear us. Last time we did this, we had some volume problems. But as we get into it, we are going to see the first ban is just like last time, Timbersaw and Doom. I think those are pretty prototypical first bans.
Was Doom banned last
Doom
time?
wasn't, but I do see him banned a lot, and I think that people don't like that Doom. You know, they say, I'd rather not deal with it. Nature's Prophet is banned, a push that nobody ever wants to see. We did learn that Execution enjoys that late game, so they learned last time around that Razer does like that hard push, and they like to come in for ganks, and there's few people better at the hard push than Nature's Prophet. Not Nature's Prophet, I'm sorry, Death's Prophet.
Death's Prophet.
Is it Death?
Yeah.
I call her Death
Death
Q. Let's call her
Prophet,
Death Q, I don't mix it up.
Dyer's pick.
Perfect.
Lich is banned again.
Again?
Razer is scared of Lich. That's the second time they've banned him on one of their first bans. I would have personally banned Animage, but hey, after that last one, right?
I think they realized that they made a huge mistake by letting Animage farm for so long. I think Animage is countered. Like I said, he's not picked too much nowadays, just because you can punish the team for picking him. I just think that they got a little bit caught off guard. That's what I'm assuming, anyways. They pick up Disruptor though, who is not seen too much, but he's very strong, especially in. He's really strong. You don't see him too much in the Pro League, but I can see him being very efficient in this league. I think that, especially if you pair him up with somebody who will be able to combo with his ulti very well, or that kinetic field, that should set up some really nice, not only just single ganks, but even for the team fight. That's a really amazing ulti to have.
Absolutely. And then we see obviously Bristleback picked up by Razer International. It looks like they want a little more tankability on this round, and few characters can give you the tankability of Bristleback as early as he can. He's also going to be able to put some slows and armor reduction out there, so hopefully we see an armor reduction combo. That would be something fun to kind of get our head around as we watch this time.
Yeah, Bristleback is just one of those annoying heroes who, if you don't execute on him properly, he will just annihilate your team with those spikes or those quills. He'll just be spraying those quills like crazy, and unless you get a good stun on him and start bursting him down from the front, he will probably take your whole team with him.
Yeah, he can definitely can do that, and he's a giant pain. So that is a definite negative.
Looks like the Jakiro's picked again. I think was it Execution who had the Jakiro last time? I believe so.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah, because Razer was the one with the anti-mage, and Execution, yeah, they were the ones who had the Shadow Demon Jakiro combo for the defensive tri-lane.
That is true. So sort of switching it up a little bit, 5
seconds.
So yeah, I wonder who they're going to pair Jakiro with as the second support. Disruptor is definitely a really good choice. As you saw last game, those early kills were pretty amazing. Unfortunately, I think they weren't getting them on the right heroes.
Oh, there he is. There's the Slark. You know why I like Slark Fellscream? Pancake.
You and your fail pounces.
Yeah, I like the pounce. He's got that same wow factor as Marana and Pudge, because everyone in the crowd gets to say yay or ah whenever he lands or misses a pounce. So I'm going to say that it's harder to hit a Slark pounce than a Pudge hook, in my humble opinion.
You think so? You think it's harder to land a Slark pounce?
I do. I think because the Pudge hook comes with a nice long chain that allows you to track your misses and failures, whereas the Slark pounce does not. All it comes with is sadness and broken dreams. Plus, a missed Slark bounce often results in a dead Slark, whereas a missed Pudge hook just results in an embarrassed Pudge.
That is true. That's very true.
That is very true. But you can't hit a pounce you don't go for, right?
I guess so. Yeah. I guess if you adapt the hook strategy to Slark.
Adapt and evolve. It looks like we're banning Storm Spirit this time around. They don't want to deal with him over on the Execution side. He was a giant pain in their side last time, so they're taking that away from him.
Now I do wonder who they're gonna pick as a mid this time, though. It seems like right now neither team is giving too much away with what they have in terms of their overall strategy. Bristleback is a very strong offlaner. Jakiro very strong support, but they could really be doing anything here. And same thing what goes with Execution. It looks the Slark is like I have no idea where they're going to stick the Slark. They might offlane him. They might use him as just a one hard carry. But I just don't think he does as well as a lot of the other hard carries out there. So it's going to be interesting to see where they put him.
And I think that's been maybe it's a mislabel on Dota's part. I think that he is definitely more of a snowball, a Legion Commander type, than a hard carry.
It's true.
Apparently I'm having volume issues again. This doesn't make any sense. It's infuriating.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like they did ban out the Venomancer. I guess it makes sense. Venomancer would be kind of scary with the Jakiro. Venomancer in general is a very strong support for those ganks, and Jakiro is already a pretty strong gank support. So I'm gonna guess, yeah, they ban out the Nature's Prophet as well. Very annoying here to deal with, especially if you let him farm. He's probably one of the fastest farmers in the game. Usually picks up a Hand of Midas early game and just goes to town on the money shirts. It's pronounced. I've heard people pronounce it in all ways possible. Visage. He was offlaning for, was it Razer?
5 seconds.
Mirana.
No, it was Execution because he was going up against the anti-mage, wasn't he? Yes, I believe it was Execution who had the Elder Titan offlane.
10 seconds to go.
I think Shadow Demon would actually be really good with Mirana. It's usually a good pair, just because you can actually arrow out of the disruption. It's a nice setup that you can do. Visage is actually a really strong support. He's been, I think, first picked a lot of times now in the Pro League, just because of how strong and how powerful he is as a support. He puts out an insane amount of damage with his what is it called? His Soul Assumption. And then his Gravekeeper's Cloak is actually really nice once you level it up because it makes him really survivable. And of course, who can forget about those little flyers, his familiars, who are really good for initiating for those drop-down stuns, as well as putting out that insane damage once they come back up.
Have you talk about the draft more than me, because apparently for some reason my mic's not picking up in drafts, but it picks up once we get into game, which is
okay. Well, I hope mine's being picked up because
no, yours is. I've heard that you're good and you're coming across clear, which is disappointing because my insights are better.
Exactly. What a shame. What a shame. Oh, it looks like they pick up an Alchemist, and
what?
I'm very curious to see if it's gonna be a farming Alchemist, which it's not played anymore.
It looks
really.
like it looks like it's going to have to be, though, based on that comp that's developing down there.
It could be a mid Alchemist, though. Alchemist is played mid actually a lot more than carry nowadays. So,
do you think that he can match up against Mirana on a mid challenge?
I think so. Alchemist is a very strong mid. Just because you level up, you don't level up Grievous Greed at all. You just level up Acid Spray and Unstable Concoction. And if that Mirana gets too aggressive, that Unstable Concoction can do some serious damage. And then with that Acid Spray, you're just pretty much zoning her out all the time. She can't just sit in lane and soak up the farm because your Acid Spray is keeping her out. So he's pretty strong in mid. And then once he hits 6, he's pretty much going to be able to stay in lane all day. Like, Mirana won't be able to harass him out at all. I think
They did ban one of my favorite supports, Spenomancer, which I think was a good choice in this situation. But they did pick up Lion, which everybody knows that his Finger of Death is a giant pain. But I don't know. What do you think about Lion? You think they're just going for the Hex?
It's interesting. Lion can also. I saw Hani from Fnatic play him as a mid hero, and I've never seen that before. I heard it wasn't the first time it had been played as a mid, but. I think the reason would be maybe just so he can get a fast level 6, maybe start using that ulti early on in the team fights or early on in ganks. I don't know. I think Lion is a pretty strong support just because he does have that Hex and that Impale, which are really good lockdowns, even in the late game. That Hex is pretty nice. The mana drain, unfortunately, does fall off late game. You really don't use it much, so I do see a lot of people not really maxing mana drain out. They prefer the other skills first. I think they're a lot more useful. But if he's played as a pure support, then who knows? He might be able to get some harass mana drains out.
Well, let me ask you what you think about the Omni Knight ban.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure why they banned. I'm trying to think of what they would think.
I'm trying to think of the last time I saw Omni Knight picked in a competitive match. Hold on, I'm running my head back. Let's see, 1992.
I think it was 81?
It might have been 1881 that I think Omni Knight was a part of the meta.
Right, yeah. I think so. When Chuck Norris was first introduced.
Chuck Norris was introduced to the game. Omni Knight dominated until the beard lost its power. That's about right. Batrider is banned. Looks like the Execution is worried about them changing over to a mid that can counter Mirana. And they go ahead and they ban it out so it doesn't happen.
So yeah, I think from Razer, they're looking at, there it is, Silencer.
Silencer!
So they're probably going to have a Silencer mid, then Alchemist hard carry, which is interesting. Like I said, you don't see that. Razer Blade were the team that went anti-mage last game, correct?
Yep, they did. So they like that farm, you know.
They like that TI3 style, you know. Anti-mage and Alchemist were the two hard carries that everyone would choose or ban.
It's that free ticket we got with the update.
Yeah, they were inspired by the TI3 games.
Oh man, that's funny. So we've got a little TI3 Dota going up on the side of Razer, and we've got a little, what are we on? Is it called 4.9 or 6.9 is the new patch?
6.9, I believe, yeah.
6.9 rolling on the top with the Slark and Mirana, though I will say that Disruptor is a little bit of a strange choice. What are we going to see to complement this? I think we're looking at a hard carry, potentially.
That's the thing, I'm not sure, because Mirana can be mid, Mirana can be an offlaner. She can be played as a support. I mean, Slark is the one that I'm really... There it is, Lifestealer.
There's the Lifestealer. So that'll be interesting. I think Lifestealer running around with Slark could be a very scary prospect. Slark gets a good pounce in, Lifestealer pops out, and they can really just destroy pretty much anybody in that combo. So we'll see how that pans out. What do you think of Lifestealer versus Alchemist in the endgame?
Endgame, Alchemist, if he gets the farm, if they have both equal farm, I think Alchemist comes out winning. Just because Lifestealer is a bit more of a mid-game carry than someone like an anti-mage or an Alchemist.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that change to Alchemist that took him out of the common meta. Now it was a change to his ulti, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Chemical Rage. They modified the way that the regeneration works. Is that right?
So instead of getting a big just chunk of health when he pops his ulti, now he just gets faster regen of both his health and his mana. So it's I don't know. I never really understood why he actually fell off as a hard carry. I feel like it wasn't so much that he got worse, but other heroes got better maybe. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what exactly happened in the meta that actually made him such a poor choice for a hard carry. Or not poor maybe, but
if anybody out there in Streamland, and I'm going to get this answer in about 2 minutes when the delay goes through, knows why Alchemist fell off the meta and wants to give us some feedback, I'll take a look at that when it pops up. Maybe we can come back to it during some down farm time. Once again, this is live on Dota TV as well as twitch.tv/5MidasGaming, all one word. We'll be broadcasting the game tonight, and over the next 2 days we're going to try to put it into a VOD format onto our YouTube page page. You can get to the link from Twitch TV. It is also 5 Midas Gaming on YouTube. So look us up. My name is Toffees, and this is Pancake Dragon. I normally wait until the game starts to go over the lineups, but I guess since we are just relaxing, we may as well do it now when they're all in one place and I don't have to move the screen. So up top with you would once I get happy about doing it this way. All right, so we've got up on top Coco Crunchy's gonna be playing the Mirana. We've got VSX gonna be playing the Disruptor. Life Stealer is gonna be played by R&D. Our stand-in Mosh will be playing Lion, and Po Po Poi. Was he in the last game?
I think so.
I don't remember a Po Po Poi, but he will be playing our Slark, which I can guarantee we'll be watching a lot of because I enjoy Slark. Up on the top lane for Razer, for Razer we're going to have Bristleback, played by Chastity. Chaosity?
Yeah, Chaosity. I think
it's like Chastity, but different. We'll be having mid, played by Kunkka, is going to be Silencer, ironically enough. Down on the bottom lane, we're going to have a Ungasi. What do people have weird names? An Ugasi Alchemist, a Vexar Visage, I'm going to have fun with that one. And Gamma Hulk is playing Jakiro. So we should have a pretty good match for us here today as everybody kind of gets into their positions and preps up. Looks like we're going in on a 3-man ward here, protecting that Disruptor. Looks like we might be rotating down. Disruptor looks like he's looking for a possible early kill if they hand it to him. Nope, they're just going to put... I really like that ward location for a starting ward for the Dire. What do you think about that spot for a ward as opposed to its normal location up on the eyeball?
I think it's to protect your mid, really. It covers the rune, and it also protects your mid from ganks from the tri-lane on top. I think what's interesting here is both teams have gone defensive tries, and it looks like right now that Razer has a very aggressive tri-lane, and usually when you have aggressive, aggressive I mean as not they're going the hard lane. I'm just saying that they have very aggressive supports.
Built to take,
exactly.
To take on some
Their
fights.
supports are built to gank basically, and especially with that Unstable Concoction coming out from Alchemist, they can put out some really nice gank potential. But they're sticking to their guns and they're going safe lane. And then you look at their counterpart in Execution, and it looks like they've got a decent... it looks like their Lion is just going to be doing a little bit of farming here, maybe stacking some camps, while Disruptor just protects his Lifestealer.
Which I think is valuable. And the thing that I want to consider with these supports choices between the Visage and the Lion is that Lion is not as dependent. He is dependent somewhat on that level 6 for kills, but his real value in the early game comes from his ability to sort of Earth Spike and Hex and lock up his opponents. Whereas Visage, I feel, doesn't really take off as a strong support until he hits that level 6 and get his hands on his familiars. So I think that having him in that tri-lane could potentially slow down their ability to get this group rolling.
Visage is seen in tri-lanes a lot, but you are right. I think it's, as you can see right now, Visage is actually farming the neutral camp with the pooled lane that he got. I don't think he successfully pooled the whole lane, though.
No, he didn't.
And he did stack the camp. He actually did eat the tango right here where I'm pinging. Usually what they'll do is, instead of stacking camps, they will just pull the lane into this camp, and as soon as the last creep is dying, they'll pull the camp from up here on top, pull it through, and then that way you don't even have to be stacking camps to pull the lane.
That makes sense, because if you don't stack the camps, for those of you who don't know, a non-stacked creep pull just ends up in a creep push. So to those of you who may be new and watching the amateur circuit, that is a basic support rookie mistake, is you can't pull one group because it just ends up counteracting what you were setting out to do in the first place.
And it looks like Bristleback is being quite a bit passive here. He does... Oh, there's the...
He's got in the hole. It looks like they're going to try to get in there on
I think he'll survive this. He actually might turn it around.
Low. Yep. I don't like how low Lifestealer is.
And that's the dangerous thing about going up against a Bristleback like that. If you dive a Bristleback, you better be sure as hell that you're going to kill him, because if you don't, he will be turning it around quite easily.
Absolutely.
If he would have had a point in Vicious Nasal Goob right there, he might have been able to actually get that kill.
You know, I grew up near the ocean, and something that they taught us was always know how deep your dive is going to be, or you'll end up with a snapped neck. And I think that Lifestealer needed to learn that lesson, and he almost learned it a little too late on that one.
Yes, indeed. He was being a little bit
Hawaiian knowledge for you. I dropped that down. All right, Silencer is... Oh, wow. Silencer, what a pain. putting on Slark. It looks like Slark's having a little trouble there. We'll look at the last hits, and right now Alchemist and Lifestealer are dead even with 12, and they seem like they're matched up pretty well. But the real thing I'm curious about is the center. Slark and Silencer going head-to-head. Actually, it's pretty close. 9-3 versus 7-7. Slark is definitely getting the better of the denies, which I think is underrated in that middle combat. It looks like they're going on Mirana at the bottom. We got an Ice Path up. Visage has... she jumps just in time. The jumps. And Visage goes home hungry. Do not feed the Visage.
Yeah, I think the big difference right now... Oh, it looks like Bristleback is going to contest this pool. And that's what you can do as a Bristleback. You can be quite aggressive like this just because you are so tanky. And if they try to harass you, you can just pretty much burn them down with your quills. What I was going to say is that I think the biggest difference right now in mid lane is that early kill for Slark really helped him out because Silencer is going to be harassing the crap out of him. Like he's just going to be spamming his level 1 ability, which is going to be burning down both Slark's mana and his health like crazy. So
we got double damage Slark with copies. He's going to
That's true.
See, now that's the way that one should use illusions. He's using to scout out the jungle and get a feel for his opponent. So I'm glad to see that somebody did it right. In the last game, I think they dove the tower. So not...
It's usually just like, you know, I can't micro,
looks like
screw it.
Toffees going head-to-head with Snotty McGee, Bristleback. Bristleback puts a shot on him and says, "You're free to go, I'm going to get the farm." So,
again, he's just not learning his lesson. I feel like he's going to pay the next time he tries to jump in like that.
He is. He is definitely getting more of a last hit build than Bristleback is, but Bristleback is going to start pulling ahead in levels soon. He is 5-2 Lifestealers 4 at the moment.
This is the typical Bristleback is offlaning, solo offlaning here, and he is almost equalizing Lifestealer's tri-lane farm. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
So that's that's the thing about Bristleback, and I think that's why he's really kind of seen his emergence in the meta is that ability to provide great survivability on that off lane, and even late game to really kind of cause tons of damage when they try to burn him down.
This is a very typical ward, by the way, especially if you're going up against someone like a Bristleback that likes to poke his nose around your business a lot. Because as soon as he overextends, if you're positioned correctly, you can pretty much take him down. Like, this line's coming around here. He saw him dip out a little bit, but it was too late. Bristleback reacted too quickly. Yeah. It was a great reaction by Bristleback to just get the hell back, because he knows that if Disruptor gets a glimpse on him and then puts a kinetic field on him, followed up by, you know, all of Lion CC's...
I do want to point out that Slark went down to the bottom for a potential gank, decided that he didn't have the position and floated back top. So that did give Silencer a little bit of an edge up in that middle right now on the last hits. Yeah. A pretty significant one, actually.
And it looks like Silencer's going to pick up this Invis rune. I don't know what he's waiting on. That's very interesting. Oh, he DC'd. Did he? Yep, he DC'd. I was gonna say that was.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't understand why he was just waiting there next to it.
And I'm getting a correction from my stream chat. It looks like LMQM said that we had it backwards, and Anti-Mage was not on Razer last time around. It was Execution that had Anti-Mage.
Okay.
So, sorry about that. There's a lot of teams to learn in the amateur leagues. They come and they go pretty quickly, so keeping track of everybody can be a little bit difficult at times. But stand-in ...
But yeah, it looks like, I think so far, just looking at these first 6 minutes, if you look at it lane per lane, I'd say Bristleback is definitely doing an amazing job here on the off lane for Razer, and I'd say that he's not obviously winning the lane, but he's definitely getting the best out of the lane.
Absolutely.
And then mid lane, I'd say it's pretty much even. If you look at their levels and their farm, they're pretty close together. I'd say Silencer is, he is beating him out. He's beating out the Slark and CS, but Slark got that early kill, so.
Yeah, I will say that Execution has a very slight gold advantage at this point, but if you look at the graph, and I've got it pulled up right now, it's been swinging both ways back and forth pretty rapidly, so there's no distinct advantage there. As far as XP goes on a team basis, they're right in the middle, same swings that we saw on the gold chart, obviously this early in the game. Other things we want to take a quick look at, hero levels. We're looking at Silencer has 6 and does have his global ulti. Slark is 6 as well. The rest of the non-carries, with the exception of Alchemist, non-support with the exception of Alchemist, are 5. And then our carries are sitting at a lovely 3. So that Visage hasn't quite gotten the farm that I think he was hoping to get down there in the jungle.
Yeah, I think Alchemist just picked up his first level in Grievel's Greed, which is interesting. I don't know why he would go 2 levels into Unstable Concoction, especially since I don't think he's getting very contested by this Mirana. Maybe if Mirana's a little bit more aggressive, I would see that being justified. But you really need as many points in Grievel's Greed early on as you can get, just because you're going to be fighting up against the Lifestealer's farm. And Lifestealer isn't great at farming, honestly. He's not one of the faster farmers, but still, you want to be taking any advantage you can get against the Lifestealer.
And I mean, I think Alchemist, Grievel's Greed builds the same idea, and as a Midas. Alchemist is racing for Midas right now with his 1600 in the bank, but Grievel's Greed benefits you more the earlier you get it. It's a basic philosophy. If you get Midas at 6 versus 10, that's a significant increase in experience and gold. So I am a little confused by that. However, perhaps he got it, and this is the only thing I can think of, when somebody might have rotated in. Maybe Visage was planning to come in for one of those ganks, and he was hoping to get a little more stun damage and to get a gank to make up for the lack of gold from Grievel's Greed.
Yeah, that would make sense. It looks like Visage is going to probably try to pull the lane here again. He's in position
He's a
right
good
there.
choice. Mirana has, let me go over to my last hit numbers. Mirana hasn't been getting as much farm as I think that she would have liked. She's only got 11 last hits and 1 deny, so she's definitely losing pretty significantly to Alchemist down on that lane. But that's to be expected with an off lane versus a good try.
Yeah, I think she's doing quite good if you compare her to the Bristleback and Razer's off lane. She's not too behind. I mean, she's only 3 last hits away. She throws out a random arrow there, and oh, it's going to connect. That arrow was pretty nice.
Alchemist is queuing up a stun. I don't think he's going to get in range in time, and he's going to go ahead and stun himself. I'm going to go middle real quick. Looks like we got a rotate. Shooting me down on Silencer. Silencer gets hit by the spikes. In comes Slark. He does... Nope, he made his pounce. He hit the pounce. What you disrupting there, Disruptor? Alright, it looks like Slark's going to follow him in. He's got his ulti up. I don't think Silencer's going to be able to get out of this one. And they kill Silencer, making it a 2-0. So that was good.
Lion surviving with like 6 HP. That was really close.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you that, I'm going to be honest, that was a pretty messy gank start to finish. If that pounce hadn't landed, everything else was cast pretty much in the wrong spot.
That was very messy.
That Disruptor, that Disruptor, sorry, kinetic field was rough to say the least.
The dire
I suppose he could have been putting it down to try and keep Silencer from escaping, but I think I'd rather have it put around him than off to the side. Silencer comes back, puts her ass right back on Slark immediately. Wow. You look at Slark's health right now. It's that entire drop, Slark was almost full before Silencer put his last word on him.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that people thought that Slark was OP, including the his ability to detect wards when he would lose his passive. But I guess IceFrog decided that he wasn't as OP as everyone thought, and I think it was a right decision to put him into the Captain's Mode draft.
I think so too. You know, I played a fair amount of him since he was put back into Captain's Mode, and I've definitely seen that there's a good amount of counters, and there's a lot of... He's got a pretty good skill cap to him as well, so I think that he's been fun. He's added a lot more excitement. I think IceFrog's figured out that heroes with high risk, high reward bring in fans because everybody loves watching it. Everybody loves seeing the failed pounce.
I do love seeing those
nothing I love more than watching retry when when they miss their black holes, okay? So nothing's as fun as watching a missed skill. Alright, looks like Alchemist is on the bottom by himself now. He's going to play around in the jungle a little bit. We got a ward up top, but they saw Disruptor placing it, so now we've got 2 wards just kind of sitting there.
Oh, looks like Lifestealer's going to go down here. Top.
Lifestealer up on top? Oh yeah, they are moving in for a gank. I totally missed that Lifestealer kill, but, well, Bristleback ports out there. So Bristleback soloed Lifestealer. Is that what I missed?
Yes, Bristleback soloed Lifestealer. I think Lifestealer thought that he would be able to get away with Rage, but then he turned around mid-Rage and thought he could take the Bristleback, which is always a mistake, especially when...
I know that you saw the rotation from Disruptor and Lion, which is what I was following, because I didn't think that he'd engage so early.
Oh yeah, Bristleback just... Maybe that's why Lifestealer turned around, because he thought that he was getting his
He
team...
did. I don't think he thought Bristleback could burn him down as fast as he did. I think he thought, I'll keep Bristleback here a second longer so my team can come in behind him. But he killed him fast enough that he was able to get in the trees and port out.
And yeah, and Bristleback knew that he'd overstayed his welcome, so he was just going to get the hell out of
Well, and the ward down here in the middle, where did let him know that the gank was coming, so he was able to get the kill and get the port. like we're seeing a rotation. Silencer and Jakiro coming in through the woods. So, that could be bad. Oh, they left at just the right time. Lifestealer's watching.
Looks like they're just looking at each other.
They were staring, they waved a little, and they decided they're going to go their separate ways. But keep in mind, the people down here in the river don't have vision up on the top, so Disruptor's just sort of keeping an eye on them and seeing what they're planning on doing.
I'm not really sure what they're doing in the river.
It's a bit of a cha-cha, really. Other than making me move my camera a lot, there's not a lot that they're doing.
I think they're doing it on purpose to mess with each other.
They're like, hey, that Toffees guy, he doesn't like moving his camera because he feels like it gives people motion sickness. Let's bob and weave.
Alchemist getting an unstable concoction off on Mirana, but it was a pretty short one, so he didn't do much with it. He popped his ulti
really
as well.
Scare him off. It looks like, though, Bristleback might be in some trouble here. They're trying to set something up on him. He got some snot on Disruptor. The team is caught out of position. Disruptor does get him penned in. Beautiful. Mirana ultis. Interesting. We got a good stun. We're going hard on Bristleback, but you can't seem to get in front of him. I don't know that Disruptor's pull there was the right choice.
Looks like he's getting some help here.
Jakiro comes in,
and they
gets
turn
stunned,
this
they
around.
turn it around, Disruptor melts, Bristleback is able to chase down Lifestealer, and wow, and Lion. So that was a great turn, and I'm going to say that the Disruptor, what's it called? What is it called? Glimpse, is what resulted that.
Yeah, I think they thought, like, the biggest problem with, like I said before, about going up against a Bristleback is
the fear of escape.
Well, that and the fact that you need to take him down fast, because he's tanky enough to buy time for his team to come and help. And, you know, they will come, they will TP in, they will make the rotation over to help him out, because they know he can hold them off long enough and get them low health enough. I don't know if you realize that, but by the time the support got there, they were already really low in health.
Well, my argument is, if Bristleback made a run that looked like this and was trying to get away, and he actually ended up getting returned to this location where the rest of the team was able to get to him. I think had they not done the glimpse, they would have been able to finish him off and possibly get out of town. They really want that Bristleback, but it looks like he's going to turn around again. Jakiro gets the flame down and ends up melting Lifestealer, gets the snot on Lion, and we're going to go with another 2 for 0. Mirana jumps in, wants a little Jakiro. Jakiro is going to go down. They got... Oh, that Bristleback hurts so much. She can't get away. He ends up taking down Mirana.
And he's
possibly
going for Disruptor, and
he goes mad mode on it. Wow, and we get a 4 for 1 on that. That was a crazy exchange.
The power of a Bristleback.
The power of a Bristleback. That, man... Maybe we should stop talking about Slark being overpowered and start talking about Bristleback. It's 8 and 4 going in favor of Razer. Let's take a...
Well, I feel like this was the reason he was banned out in the first game. I mean, I think they knew what his power was. I just don't... Maybe they thought they could handle him. The thing is,
I guess.
You have to have a very nukey team. I don't know if that's a word, but...
Well, keeping up... No, actually, Bristleback was picked, I believe, with their first pick, so... There wasn't a lot that they could do against that. Right now, XP is 1,500 in the favor of Razer, and gold is over 1,500 in the favor of Razer as well. Looking at net worth right now, Bristleback is at 5,000, Alchemist is at 4,000, and the team from Execution is coming in 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'm 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So they're definitely losing the battle war. They got a snot on Slark, but he jumps away. He's going to get away from that one, but not without a little bit of harassment. Bristleback saying, don't mess with me, I'm ready for this. I gotta say that Bristleback was picked first, but seems like a pretty decent counter for that Slark.
Bristleback can pretty much tear through anybody on Execution's team, except for maybe a farmed Lifestealer, and I think that's what they're going for. I think their only chance right now is to get as much farm as they can on that Lifestealer, and somehow have him go up against head-to-head with Bristleback.
I think that's true. I agree with that. But, you know, Lifestealer at 0 and 3, it means that Razer's done a really good job of keeping the harass on that Lifestealer and suppressing him. While on the other hand, Alchemist down here on the bottom is completely free to farm as much as he wants. So we get a field up, Slark gets a good pounce, Silencer drops like a rock, Jakiro gets his freezing path down, but Slark actually ulties out of it. It looks like we are going to lose a Lion. Good flame path. Lifestealer does... Oh, wow. Disruptor dropped as well as Jakiro, so we go 2 for 2. Lifestealer is going to escape. There's a lot going on here. Bristleback is going after Slark. He gets his snot on him, but he is leashed, so that was a good pounce, a good defensive pounce on Slark's part.
The other thing worth mentioning is that Slark's Dark Pact will remove the snot debuff that Bristleback applies, but it will not remove the coil debuff.
That is true. So it helps, but it doesn't help all the way, and he can't ham mode necessarily on Bristleback. The downside of Slark is that his leash from the pounce doesn't prevent movement; it just prevents moving out of range. So that means the Bristleback can move to put his back to Slark, which makes it very hard.
As long as he has his back to Slark, he's gravy.
Exactly. So that's why I say that Bristleback's a great counter for Slark, only because Slark depends on being able to just sort of melt people he jumps on, and he can't do that with Bristleback. So unless Mirana can hit a really good arrow on Bristleback before he turns around when he sees it coming, there's not a lot of ways for them to drop him.
It would have to be, yes, some sort of combination where Mirana gets an arrow, followed by a lion stun, by a hex, something of the sort, and then Lifestealer somehow finishing him. It has to be a very coordinated kill on him. If not, if you let him just run around rampage throughout the fight.
Bristleback has built himself a pipe of insight to make him even harder to kill. So kudos to that. That's going to be fun for them to deal with.
It's a very common build on Bristleback, but usually you see them go into a Vanguard before Pipe of Insight. Pipe of Insight is usually a second, third item, but it looks like he just jumped straight to it, and I think
I think that comes from a fear of Lion, to be honest with you.
That and the fact that he just has so much farm. I mean, he's got how many kills by now? He's at 6-0 right now.
Lion gets out of there just barely. Wow, that was they opened the gates and let that arrow go right through. What a great stun! Puts the stun on Disruptor. He's going to melt him down. No questions asked. Freezing Path finishes the job. That is just terrible for Execution. They're in a really tough position here. They're going to lose that tower. Mirana does hit an arrow, but it's not really going to do much at this point. But hey, it's always fun to hit an arrow, right?
Indeed, especially when from long range, max range arrows.
Max range arrows. At least it gives you a little something to cheer about. Oh, Slark almost gets him. Oh, that would have been awesome.
I'm not sure if it stops TPs though. Does it?
It leashes you. I mean, in theory, you can't move out of position, so I believe that it does. I haven't tested it. If anybody knows, let us know. Otherwise, I can guarantee you I'll be opening a practice game against bots later and testing that out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was playing as Tree earlier today, Tree and Protector, and I used my ulti on a guy that was TPing, and even though he was rooted, he still TP'd out. So I'm not sure if it would be the same mechanic as Slark's Pounce.
We'll have to look into that actually. I know that Pounce is at least starting. The wordage, the verbiage on Slark is that it prevents characters or heroes from moving past. Oh wow, Silencer is caught out in a bad way. Yeah, he gets melted down. But the Slark language says that it prevents other heroes from moving farther than a limited distance from him, whereas the root doesn't say anything other than it roots, if that makes sense. So I think that a TP does count as distance movement, but I can't be sure of that. Do you know if a TP is affected by Bloodseeker's ulti?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it might follow the same rules then. Alright, looks like Slark is in some serious trouble down here. His ulti is down, he gets caught in the ice pad, and they don't even need to call anybody in. Visage finishes the job for him. Dominating streak ended.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
Actually, Visage got a really nice bounty out of that, which I think he's going to be able to use. He picked up a Medallion of Courage. I don't know if we noticed that, but that combined with Bristleback is going to make for some melty heroes as we move forward here.
So it looks like Bristleback is going to build into a Sage now, which is also a very common item for him. Just that having that percentage of maim is really good. Yeah. Even though he doesn't necessarily need it too much, just because he already has his nasal goo. I think it's really more for just the extra strength.
I think it's a survivability option is what I really see with the Bristleback Sage.
Yeah. Exactly. The more tankier you get a Bristleback, it's just God mode. I mean, I think after that Sage, he'll probably just build into something like
Alright, Mirana ultied. It looks like we're going to try to come in. They're going to go Silencer on the easy kill. Silencer gets caught, spiked. Bristleback says you're not taking him with you, but he does. Ice Path comes out. Bristleback is going in to just take him on down by himself. Lion drops. Bristleback's in a little bit of trouble. Looks like Mirana jumps in. They get him stuck and get around behind him. Perfect job. Slark burns him to the ground.
Slark getting a big chunk of cash for that.
That was a huge chunk of cash, 942 gold for that kill, and who better to have it than Slark? Well, maybe Lifestealer, but Lifestealer's not around. So we end up with a 2-for-1 Bristleback and Silencer for Lion. That was definitely a exchange that Execution needed desperately. So they're still playing here. Jakiro's still trying to throw some harass down to keep him off. top we've got Lifestealer pushing a lot deeper than I expected him to be willing to do. Visage puts double stuns, but he's going to get a TP out of there.
And I think it's funny to say that we've been concentrating so much on this Bristleback that we forgot who the actual main carry is supposed to be, which is the Alchemist.
It's true.
We haven't really seen much of him.
And that's not, he's been doing nothing but farming, and you know, it's paying off a little bit. He's got, his net worth is 2,000 higher than the nearest carry from the opposite side, so he is getting gold, but Bristleback's getting so many kills that it doesn't really, he's just sort of dwarfing the Alchemist. Alchemist is 2 full levels behind the Bristleback.
Alchemist has 3 points in the Grievous Greed, and Bristleback is still catching up to him in farm.
That's pretty crazy. And in fact, XP per minute wise, Alchemist is actually pretty low. He's only at 326. He's 5th on the list, which is not great for an Alchemist.
He's going to stun himself in top lane, but he's going to Shadow Blade just to make sure that the Slark doesn't turn it around. Or bottom lane, I'm sorry.
Say top, bottom lane. Oh, you're directionally challenged. I have a friend, I know this guy named Snuggied, who, honest to God, doesn't seem to be able to tell the difference between top lane and bottom lane. Every time we play with him, he'll scream out, cover top, and he has to...
Everyone TP's top, and he's sure enough to
like he
fight
attacks
bottom.
on the bottom. Oh, that guy. Alright, looks like, yeah, they pinging the wards. I don't really know what they're looking to do. Oh, going up top, Lifestealer wants some Silencer. Silencer has had a tough match so far, and it looks like that may continue. No, he gets out of there. No stun to stop.
Yeah, unless he has a Basher, that's pretty much how you deal with the Lifestealer. If a Lifestealer just jumps on you, you just TP away.
TP away. Silencer is 1-6 though, so he's been having a rough one. Very much so. Bristleback, I think, is he going for Lifestealer? Yep. Bristleback's got it in for that Lifestealer, and he's pushing up to show him who's boss. Being followed by Visage and Jakiro, Team Dragon, who look like they're going to come in from behind.
Ooh,
Alchemist
looks
has
like
got a great stun queued up.
It looks like
there
a dead Lifestealer. Bristleback doesn't even need to come into this.
Yeah, that was a very dead Lifestealer. Well, we got Mirana ulti up. It looks like we're going to push middle. Ooh, misses the arrow, but hits the spike. That's another dead Silencer. Gonna push that middle tower as hard as they can. TPs were burnt by Razer, so they're gonna try to push that tower because they can't make it back for the defense. I expect to see Execution finish the tower and port top to defend. So,
great fortification.
Personally, I would leave one person and send the rest to defend in a fortification situation like that. But it looks like Execution is running top instead of...
With Alchemist's ulti, I think they can melt this tower down in time.
I think they can. I don't know why they weren't trying to port in for that defense, but they decided running was better.
I'm not sure why he dropped his familiars. I think if the familiars would have been attacking the tower, they would have got it down. I agree with that.
I think he was trying to put a stun on for a delay, perhaps. So it looks like we're going to go into some battle here. There's the freezing path. They're going to go on Lifestealer, and that is another dead Lifestealer. Right, here we go, and in, pushing down. Gosh, it does so much damage. They do get the Hex out, but it's not going to be enough. Ice Path does freeze half the team. Disruptor drops. Lion melts. Mirana is all we got left. They're going on Mirana, and Slark puts up his BKB, but it's not going to be enough to rescue Mirana, I don't think. Oh, nope, she does get away with that leap, and it ends up being a 3-for-1. Carry Lifestealer for carry Alchemist.
It looks like the chat was saying that Pounce does not stop TPs.
Pounce does not stop TPs. Excellent. Thank you for that feedback, guys. I appreciate it. It's good to know. It'll save me time from having to do non-ranked matches later. Alright, so Slark comes in and gets chased off without a second thought. There's the arrow! So, excited, not excited. Alright, and they're chased off, but not before the damage is done. In terms of towers and kills, Razer seems to just really be dominating at this point. Another team fight, it looks like they got
Jakiro got dropped pretty quickly.
Jakiro got melted there.
And it looks like they're just going to abandon this fight.
Ports out. What'd you say?
It looks like they're just going to abandon this fight. I don't think they want to take this.
Yeah. I don't think that they... I mean, I think that's the right choice. They got what they wanted out of that originally, but they abandoned a little too late and ended up losing a couple of their people, which is not great. I think Visage is probably going to drop now to Slark if he gets the pounce on him, which he will not, but they do burn... Wow.
He didn't have a TP scroll. Yes, and
Visage almost takes down the
that
Slark.
burst damage that I was telling you about. I think that Visage damage would have been nice against a Bristleback, but unfortunately they're on the same team.
I'm going to give a shout out to Vorga, the one who answered the question about the pounce from Slark not interrupting TPs. That's from Vorga watching the show right now. So thank you, Vorga. All right. Moving along, it looks like we're going to take some farm time, except for Bristleback, who's just going to push towers because he can. Bristleback, just so we know, is now sitting on a halberd, as well as that pipe of insight. Slark is on his BKB and boots, and that's about it. Lifestealer has his Sanjin Yasha and a Hanamitis, which I don't know if the Hanamitis is really going to pay off for him, but we will find out as this progresses. I don't think the game's going to go late enough for him to really benefit from that hand.
He did pick up a Javelin, which probably means he's going to go into a Basher, which is the usual build for a Lifestealer to pick up. And I think that Basher...
I think after Silencer's escaped from you 3 separate times, Basher's the way to go.
He's done. He's done with that Silencer getting away.
He's over it. Alright, so...
Looks like there might be a Roche attempt here. At least they're going to scout it out.
I think both teams are dancing. We're right about that time where one of them is going to go for Roche. And I think that, I think it would behoove, in my opinion, Execution to try not to force a Roche fight, but to pretend that they're going to start a Roche fight and draw Razer to them in the low ground. I don't know if Razer would fall for it, but I think that it would be a pretty good move on their part. Nope, looks like they're just going to fall back. Execution's throwing more arrows out because they can. Hits the they thought it was a Bristleback, but it wasn't. I think that speaks to how aggressive Bristleback's being. When you see an illusion of Bristleback all by himself at the tower, I think that's really him.
No one wants to touch that illusion.
Oh, Freezing Field just barely misses, but Lion is still going to melt. Bristleback takes almost no damage. Disruptor gets taken down by Visage's familiars. They do have Bristleback locked up pretty good. It looks like he is going to fall, so they do get Bristleback. We got a buyback from Lion, who's already back in the fight, and actually is able to melt Jakiro down with his finger. Visage is going to fall as well.
2 down.
We got a buyback from Bristleback. Not surprised about that one.
Alchemist running in.
Alchemist comes in, takes Lion back down. Bristleback is already here. He wants to slow down that Slark. Slark does not have his ulti up. Rana is now being snotted. I don't think she's gonna make it out of this one alive. There's nothing much Execution
can do with the Lifestealer dead for 30 seconds.
And there's the burn down on Marana. Puts them in a bad position. So I don't even know what we ended up on that. Was that a 6 for 4? That was a pretty big team fight. That would, in my opinion, was one of the definers here.
I think after this tower, I think Razer should push for Roche.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice, is to finish this wave and drop back and start Roshing. They're pinging it now, so it looks like they agree with us. Alchemist did get a Radiance just now. He's having that delivered to him.
Alchemist Radiance, that is something I've never seen.
He also has Maelstrom, so he's going with this AoE type of thing, I guess.
Great for team fights. I think it's interesting how, like I said, in that fight, Lifestealer, there we go. Lifestealer actually took down the Bristleback pretty simple just by raging up. Those quills did no damage to him, and once he had that Basher, he basically melted down the Bristleback. The Bristleback had no chance there, but Visage was building up those stacks of Soul Assumption and just would nuke the Lifestealer down as soon as his rage was done. So I think that was the big
gank rolling top. Is that Lifestealer? That is Lifestealer. Is it going to be a Death
He does have his Infest, so if
he
he's fast enough,
he tries to run out of Infest range. He's going to go for a TP. Does he get it off? He gets it off.
Yep.
And the dust fails, and Razer is left with nothing to show for their trials. Now, my question is, do you think Alchemist went for this AoE teamfight build because of the fact that Bristleback is being focused down on every fight? Alchemist has sort of had free range to just sort of run around in these team fights the entire time.
You know what, I think people are just trying out different builds on Alchemist nowadays, especially since he isn't that old farming...
Rana ulti comes in with the Rana ulti. It looks like Lifestealer is going to lead off on Jakiro, and we see Alchemist first one to go down. Jakiro second to drop. Silencer going to die again. Not surprised by that one. He just tried a TP, but Lifestealer says not this time. Visage dropped like a rock. Bristleback is all that's left, and he is in the trees. Where'd Bristleback go?
Bristleback TP'd out. I think Marana could have actually thrown a Sacred Arrow at him and maybe stunned him out of the TP. I don't think he was BKB'd, so... Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and chalk it up to chaos.
She was a bit too distracted, I think.
There was a lot going on there, and I think in the situation that Execution finds themselves, they were just more worried about getting as many kills in that situation as they could than specifically the Bristleback. Bristleback at this point I feel is going to start falling off. He's still going to be ridiculously powerful and difficult to deal with, but he's going to start to lose a lot of his really scary what's the word I'm looking for? The parts of him that really scare the team fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's becoming less useful as the clock ticks, and I think the biggest thing is that Mirana is actually building into kind of a carry role with that Desolator and that Yasha. Soon she'll have her Manta, and that's going to make her pretty strong. She's not as hard as a carry as maybe Lifestealer, but she's still kind of a really nice secondary carry to have. And Lifestealer keeps on farming up. He's getting some more farm.
He has that Hyperstone now, so we're going to see Lifestealer start really hurting people.
Yeah, I think they do have the stuns to deal with an Alchemist, so I don't know. I think Execution is showing some life here.
You know, I'm really worried because I thought that had Alchemist stuck to that sort of farm role that we thought he was going to take and pursued a little more of a traditional Alchemist build, I think that he could have potentially outcarried Lifestealer. But with the build that he's looking at, I don't think that in a head-to-head with them as the final carries, it favors
It's an interesting...
Razer.
You usually build a Radiance on a very tanky hero, and I think that maybe an Alchemist, maybe he thinks that with his ulti, he's tanky enough to maybe survive long enough to do some nice damage with the Radiance, especially if he's getting locked down with stuns. But I'm not sure. I think because he actually doesn't have a BKB. Now that's something that you don't see often. I think it would have been better if he actually went something like BKB into maybe like I've seen the Armlet used a lot nowadays. Armlet, or let's see, maybe like another damage item like... Does anyone have a Desolator on their team?
Oh, looks like Slark's getting hit by Alchemist on the bottom. We're going to see if he can get a gank here. He really let that stun wind all the way down. He's going to melt Slark, no questions asked. Slark does Mirana. Mirana saves Slark. That Radiance almost finishes him off, actually. But he's able to port out at the last second. Nice ulti by Mirana to rescue Slark at the bottom.
And it looks like they're transitioning with the Mirana ulti down the jungle, looking for that Alchemist. And they're going to find him.
Alch right here. Disruptor should be able to get something up on him.
There's
he does not.
Yep, there's the glimpse.
We get a global silence.
But he uses a Shadow Blade.
Yes, he does. So good job on the escape. Arrow flies, but doesn't hit anything. And Lion's going to TP out of there. Actually, a nice spot for a TP, Lion. Very clever. The rest of the team's going to fall back. So they are going to give up a double damage room to Silencer. Oh, he bottles it.
Yeah, and the good thing about having a bottle this late game is you can actually pass it off to anybody, and that's what you usually see, like people why they keep bottles in the late game, to bottle up those runes for your carry. It's not very common, but you see it from time to time. And I think Silencer right now he's not hitting that hard, especially he only has 8 int actually stolen. That's not too much. That's not too much. I don't think he's been around too much. Like you said, he's had a
pretty bad go. He is 1-9 right now. So not only is he 1-9, but he has 3 assists, which means he gets melted at the beginning of every single team fight. It looks like Coco Crunchy's mother is putting a kibosh on the game. Tell your mother it's this is a desperate, tense situation. So I guess while we wait, we'll run through some, look over some charts while we wait for Coco Crispy's mom to approve his gaming. Looks like Execution, God, I keep forgetting their name. Execution is a Pro 4000 in the XP market, but Razer is up almost 9,000 gold. So it's not, to me it seems rare to see those charts deviate that much, but gold is definitely favoring Razer, whereas XP is favoring Execution.
The big difference in the gold is, number one, the towers that Razer has down, and the fact that they have a Great Alchemist. So that's going to definitely increase their GPM by quite a bit. I just noticed that Lifestealer just picked up a Hyperstone, and he has the Plate Mail, so he's going to be going into an Assault Cuirass, which is going to be great for team fights. Can give that his team a lot more attack speed and armor. And I also noticed that Slark also has his Abyssal Blade, which paired with Lifestealer's Basher is going to be a lot of lockdown, even more. They already have Mirana's Arrow and Lion's Stun and Hex, so they just have so much lockdown on their team now.
They got a lot of lockdown, and then I think the combination of the Assault Cuirass to kind of try and counter some of that snot, as well as the Desolator from Mirana to weaken the other team's armor is going to be a really nice combo for them.
And yeah, and as soon as she gets her, Manta style, she's gonna be hitting pretty hard, especially with that attack speed aura bonus from the.
I think that
Razer
Razer got a really strong start here, and it was a great laning phase for them. But I'm really starting to worry about their ability to win if they let this clock tick past that 40-minute mark.
You know, it's funny because this is the exact same thing that we had last game. You know, Execution was kind of struggling at the early game, but their Lifestealer just kept on farming. That was a very questionable arrow by Mirana. I don't know if she was just trying to hit that creep on purpose or next level farming.
I think Mirana just wants to throw some arrows, you know? Sometimes bitch gotta throw an arrow.
You see a BKB built on the silencer, which is gonna, mitigate a little bit of that lockdown from the other team.
A little bit of his life sucking. So he does build the BKB. I don't know. If I'm 1-9 at this point, I feel like do you think that it's worth building something like a BKB? Or
oh, definitely. Especially when you have that much lockdown. Yeah, no, BKB is...
Because he has to survive,
I'm actually surprised, seeing how much... We just talked about how much lockdown Execution had. I'm surprised that Alchemist hasn't gotten... Oh, looks like he just got a BKB. There it is.
There you go. Also, explain something to me, and maybe you come up with this. Mirana just saw the... copy rune. What the hell is it called? I'm sorry. Illusion rune.
Illusion rune.
Illusion rune, and instead of running over and grabbing it, she just went ahead and denied it. It seems like that would have been worth 2 seconds out of her time to grab it and use it for some scouting, potentially.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know where her position was. Maybe she was afraid that it was some sort of bait, like they were
potentially. I guess they did not have vision on the top lane at that point. That's true. Razer was rotating to top, so they may have thought it was some sort of gank. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say it's that and not laziness.
It looks like Razer pushing top pretty hardcore, and
Razer is. It looks like
Execution in mid.
Execution's in mid, but they're gonna have to fall back. I don't see any TP. There's one TP coming out.
Yeah, they have to TP back. Their tier 3 tower and top is down. They have to protect their barracks.
Dare I say strategic pause?
Who paused there?
Mirana.
Interesting. And she didn't even explain why.
And nope. She's saying, all right, you guys TV back. Maybe I'll come too.
Listen, this is what we're going to do, guys.
Sorry, door.
I'm going to say that somebody was at the door, but you guys...
It was actually Coco Crispy's mother asking why I'm still playing as well.
Oh, man.
So here comes the... Let's see what strategy they were able to build in that time. We've got ports coming in from most of Execution. All of Execution ports back.
They do have a glyph available, I believe, so...
They do,
no,
and they're going to glyph now. Yep, push them off those barracks if they can. They put up their ulti, Mirana's ulti. We come in, we got some Disruptor down. He locks up Visage, takes him out of the fight. Bristleback BKBs, Jakiro's melted, Alchemist is melted, Silencer is melted. Bristleback is now on his own, a man on an island all to himself and falls apart. All that we have left is Visage, but Slark goes ahead and chases him down. He's definitely not going to make it out of there.
Full team wipe.
A full team wipe at the cost of a little lion. What? I don't know why that arrow was shot, but hey, it was a celebration arrow from Mirana.
And only Jakiro has buyback from Razer.
This is devastating for Razer, actually. I think that in that buyback time, they're going to be able to push in, take this tower, and possibly start pushing on pressure on their base a little bit. Now,
and Roche is about to respawn as well, so they might be able to take that. I don't know if that's going to be in time, but...
I think that it's a little bit short. The buybacks look like the respawns are coming pretty quick, so I think that after this tower drops, we're not going to see them go too much deeper, especially since they... Oh, I see what they're going to do. Slark will take the bottom tower, and they'll make them split up for defense on the respawn. So that's good. Make Slark put them to a tough choice.
Radiant's bottom tower.
They're going to take 2 towers and a ton of gold. Let's see what happens to the gold chart. You see a dip there in Razer. Just a little bit, not enough to really make a huge difference, but the kills really kind of start to level out.
It looks like Mirana picking up that Demon Edge for extra damage. Shall we hope? Maybe a Divine Rapier?
No Divine Rapier. That would be silly. That would be silly. And
I don't know.
If that happens, this is definitely becoming a VOD. I'm going to tell you that right now. This will be on YouTube tomorrow if she gets a Divine Rapier. More importantly, if she gets a Divine Rapier and somehow hands it to Bristleback by accident, this will definitely be on YouTube tomorrow. All right,
yeah,
so
it's interesting. I think, she's probably going for a Daedalus.
I would say Daedalus is the right way to go.
We will hope that she mans up and grabs the Divine Rapier.
Hope she goes for the Rapier. It's too much to ask for. Too much to ask for, indeed.
Disruptor scouting out here, the alchemist who is positioning himself around their ancients. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do. I think they're just trying to look for some sort of opening. They're trying to think of some way that they can initiate push to the other team's side.
I think Razer's a little... I mean, Razer's on their heels, and I think that... The other hand, I think that Execution saw the damage that happened from a bad decision up top and doesn't want to make the same mistake.
Yeah, looks like they just scouted Roche with the familiars.
Yep.
Good to point out that, Visage does have his Aghanim Scepter, so he does have the 3 familiars with him, which is really important on a Visage.
Yep, it is, and I will also say that I do not believe that Razer has vision on Roche. They went ahead and de-warded, so the only actual wards up there are dire wards. So
yeah, they sent the familiars in there just to scout, so I think they know he's not up just yet, but he could be spawning any second because of the new changes to Roche.
So, but what that does is that really because there's no vision there, Razer's sort of forced to stay together farming nearby. Though on the which I think is detrimental for them.
This is looking like a pretty close game. I don't know. I think Execution pulling back from what seemed like a very sloppy start.
Yep.
But yeah, they're doing a great job. Once they got that farm on their Mirana, so she's doing an insane amount of damage now. It looks like Lifestealer is also the answer to the Bristleback now. He's definitely fallen off. It's 40 minutes in, or 39 minutes in. Bristleback is not as viable as he used to be by any means. Alchemist.
And Lifestealer's been getting nothing but free farm, though, I want to point out on the top.
Yeah.
During all of this sort of posturing and juxtaposition, he's just been sort of laning and jungling.
And he might go into an Abyssal Blade. Maybe that's what he's saving for. I don't know if he's saving for buyback, or if he's just going to use all that money to buy a Sacred Relic for his Abyssal. He could go into a Heart.
We'll find out in about 100 gold, I think.
He could go into a Heart. He has options. I think he might want to go damage, though.
Yes.
Instead of survivability. He already has his rage, so you don't usually see a BKB on a Lifestealer. It's just kind of
you don't really see supplemental lifesteal on a Lifestealer either. So I think that you're right about the Abyssal. So all right, it looks like Dire's decided to go for it, and Execution is in the hole. Visage is on his way to check it out. He's sending his familiars in, so we'll see a sun as soon as they get there. But I don't think it's enough. They burnt him down. That Mirana did a lot of damage just there. Get the Aegis, and they make it out the back. No questions asked, no chance.
And she didn't even have to use her Mantis style. I think just with the Desolator, reducing Roshan's armor, that's enough to burn him down pretty quickly.
Well, she's doing about 250 per swing right now, which is actually more than I think anybody else on her team is, with the exception... No, she literally has the highest damage out of anybody on her team at the moment.
Yeah, and then her attack speed is pretty crazy as well, since she is an Agi hero.
Yep.
And with that Mantis style, that illusion damage is pretty significant.
She's
throwing out a random arrow again?
She's doing one attack every 3/4 of a second. So for those of you who are kind of watching how fast she's whipping them out there, that is very, very quick.
I don't know. I'm very curious of why they're being so defensive. They do have the Aegis. I think they're just afraid to be caught out. Like it looks like they
just dusted. They just dusted. So I think that we're going to see them push in and try to get some sort of gank. It looks like they drew their path. They're going to go down to where mid is. I think that there's just a fear that Razer is being incredibly careful. And if they catch... The game is so close right now that one bad decision in a team fight could end the game.
I honestly think that Execution has a better late game, though. I mean, I think...
Well, and that's where I'm confused about Razer's defensiveness here. And I think that's why Execution's so okay with it, is they have the Aegis, but they know that, hey, if you give more farm to our Lifestealer, you're just gonna give us the W.
I think the biggest problem right now is that they all, like a lot of them, I think 2 or 3 of them just bought BKB. So they're fresh BKBs. On Bristleback, I think his BKB is at 9 seconds, and the Alchemist still has a 9-second BKB as well. So that's pretty huge. I mean, if you can't lock those 2 heroes down during that fight, they're going to be doing an insane amount of damage. They're going to be taking out your support really quickly.
Take a look at Razer right now. I think we're just having a fireside meeting over at the mid tower with these 3 heroes. They're just relaxing, taking the suntan.
They're like, listen, there's no rush. Let's just chill, talk about how our day was. And
Execution used their entire dust, walked the entire map, and found no one because Razer apparently knew that was what was going on and just hid out in the base.
I just think that both teams think that the other team is stronger than them. Honestly, I think at this point, Execution is, I think, a little bit stronger than Razer right now, but they haven't realized it. They still think that they're still. I mean, they're so used to being on the back foot that I think they're just kind of used to defending.
I think you're right. I think that is why we broadcast on a delay, so none of you watching can send a message to your friends over on Execution and say, "Hey guys, you're stronger." Pancake and Toffee say so. That is a Pancake and Toffee decision.
Pancake and Toffee say, start pushing.
Which consequently sounds like a delicious breakfast.
Yep, it does.
Not the healthiest.
Pancake and Toffees?
Pancake and Toffees. We just need somebody named Hot Chocolate to start broadcasting with us.
I'm actually getting hungry now.
You're always hungry. For those of you who are watching, so we're in a downtime, I'll tell you my favorite story about Pancake Dragon is every time that we do a ranked match, he says, "Yeah, man, I'll play." Then about 12 minutes into the game, he goes, "Ah, crap, the Chinese food is here." It disappears for a good 6 to 10 minutes, which is always wonderful. And I don't recommend playing a ranked match with Pancake anytime between the hours of 9:30 and 10:30 p.m. Looks like we're finally getting back into some action here. Maybe. So much standing around. I haven't seen this much standing around since, I don't even know. I was going to make a joke about construction. There's a dust, and it looks like Execution is determined to kind of make a smoke initiation work. Gosh. This is like, you know what this is like? This is watching like my 6-year-old nephew play soccer. I'll just kind of run around in a big bunch.
It's just, I think they have to use this Aegis. I mean, I think it's in their best interest to use it.
Here we go. This looks like we're going to get some action here. Lifestealer's not taking any guff. He's charging. He's headed in. It looks like they think the push is coming top. Oh, just turn left. They're checking the Ancients. They're actually getting strung out. This might backfire on them if they do engage right now.
The dust is about to, the dust is over, so...
It looks like the fight's going to be at the tower, potentially. Alright, so this is hopefully the setup we're looking for, and this is really actually to benefit Razer if they can get the fight on the tower. Here comes an arrow!
Oh, and it lands on Jakiro. That was a great arrow.
A little bit outside of initiation range, but we're going to go anyway. They get a stun on Slark and start to try to burn him down, but
the silence goes out before Lifestealer is able to rage, so he's getting dropped. Look at that.
Lifestealer is getting dropped.
He does have the Aegis, so he's coming back up.
Unfortunate. Slark is burning down. We see Alchemist drop like a rock. We're turning around. Jakiro is down. Slark jumps out to save himself. They're able to get Silencer.
Familiar is burning down Slark.
Buyback from Silencer. It definitely went the way of Execution. I would say that they executed that fight well. Great job of Lifestealer getting back as quickly. Obviously the Aegis. But that silence was pretty
Mirana's just doing too much damage.
So much damage. You see that? It's just melted Visage. No questions asked. They're going to take this tower and probably this barracks for anybody who can even try to respond. So chasing Silencer down, and Silencer dies to Slark again. Story of his life. Slark jumps, hoping to get away, and he does.
He's just going to wait for that regen and then come back.
Look at that. Mirana's going to 3-shot this little tower.
And it's GG.
And there's the GG. We knew it was coming. Alright, so GG, and the game goes the way of Execution. That was actually a really good match. A lot of back and forth, and very even till the end. So thank you guys very much for joining us for the second match of the evening. We will be here tomorrow night on 5 Midas Gaming as well as Dota TV, broadcasting another match from the same amateur Dota 2 league, AD2L. So my name is Toffees. You can follow me at Toffees_Dota2, and my CoCaster, Pancake Dragon.